guys? Like, how many of you have not done it yet? Okay. How many of you have done it? You can unmute and tell if you have done it. Hello guys, am I audible? Meher? Yeah, okay. Melvin, Meher, okay, good. So, have anyone faced any issues like while spinning up any VM?
Hey,
Yeah, yes, Santosh. Sorry, Santosh?
this is my first class.
Oh, your first class. Okay, okay, Santosh. So actually, Santosh, what? Okay, who else has joined for the first time today?
Yeah, myself
I
as
have,
well.
and me too. This is Mukul. I have joined for the first time.
Okay. Sorry, who is speaking? I get.
Venkat
Mukul, this
Srinivas
is
also
Mukul.
joined.
Okay. So
Yeah,
Venkat.
sir, I am also have joined today, first time. Amit.
Oh, okay, okay. So a lot of first joiners, like new joiners today. Let me do one thing for you. I'll just recap. I have taken 2 sessions till now. Okay, and I've covered basics and I've given some assignments to be performed. So you can go through my sessions. I think there will be recording available with the studio, and you can go through those recordings. I'll just brief you about what you have to do. So the assignment part, what we are working on and what we are going towards. Okay, so we are currently covering the basics of IT. Okay, so I have given small assignment to enable virtualization in your laptops. Whatever personal laptop you will have, you just have to enable the virtualization in your laptop. So it differs from laptop model to model. You have to go to your BIOS setting and enable the virtualization. Okay, and once you enable virtualization, you have to download this Oracle VM VirtualBox Manager. Okay, and you have to download an ISO file. ISO file link I have already shared in the group. I'll again share the link. So you have to download one ISO file, CentOS ISO, so that we boot up VMs. So I showed just how to boot a VM. So you can go through the video and you can see how we spin up VMs. So once you spin up VMs, you will be able to get screen like this. Okay. So why are we focusing on this? I explained about Linux structure, how Linux structure is, because this is going to be helpful when we are going to discuss about Docker, Kubernetes, AKS, and even CI/CD pipelines will have agents. So in a lot of places we'll come across Linux. So I have explained the basic structure, booting process of Linux, and how the directory structure is of Linux, so that when I'm explaining those topics, you will be able to correlate. And I've asked to create VMs because once you create VMs in this Oracle VirtualBox, you can easily correlate whether like in Azure how to create VMs, in any other cloud provider like it be GCP or AWS. So this creation of VM, the basic is almost everywhere it is same. You need to select the memory, you need to select the hard disk. So I suggest everyone who has joined today, please go through the 2 sessions that I've taken, Thursday and Friday, and implement whatever I asked for. Implement Oracle VirtualBox and spin up one VM, sample VM, and perform some commands that I've given, basic commands like how to create a user, how to create a group, how to create folder, how to create files. Okay, you clear about this? So this is what we covered in Thursday and Friday. We'll go through it, right?
Okay, sir.
So
One question I have, sir. One question
yeah,
I have.
yes.
Actually, I want to be asked that in Azure, as mentioned in your course, Azure, whatever the things will be there, we will do practice on Azure account, na? That
Correct.
Azure related all things. So there is a like AWS EC2 instance there. Can we not do that practice of Unix in that environment of Azure? and the total practice on the Azure.
It's your wish. In Azure, see, VM creation and all, I'll just show it to you. The Linux practice you can do anywhere you have Linux. For example, for
Yeah,
Linux
yeah.
practice, I have asked everyone to install Oracle VirtualBox since it is open source. So everyone might not be having EC2 instance, right? So, so I think it will be helpful for you as well, because we might have to install multiple VMs, not only one VM. When we are discussing about Docker and Kubernetes, you might even have up to 3 VMs, so that we form a cluster and all. So I don't think in EC2, if you spin up again, you need to incur more cost. So that's why I suggested that we go with on-premise, so that we learn Docker Kubernetes in on-premise on your base, and I can show AKS installation and deployment in Azure. So that basics won't change, only the UI will change.
Okay. But in the real time, the work will the total on the Azure, correct?
Correct. Work, whatever Azure side changes and work, I will explain you. I will take you through it. But once you log into VM, it's all same. Whether it's a VM in Oracle VirtualBox or Azure, it is all same. So for practice purpose, I have asked everyone to install Oracle VirtualBox.
So apart of the Unix part, the all things will be happen in the Azure.
Correct. So first of all, we will cover basics of operating system. I'll explain Linux permissions, disk attaching, because you can attach a disk in Azure also. I'll show how to attach in Azure, and same way you have to attach in Oracle VirtualBox. But what you have to do after attaching is something common. So whatever you perform here, formatting of disk and mounting, everything will be common in on-premise and Azure. So that's why you should have a Oracle VirtualBox always with you, so that you can practice things. Because if something goes wrong here, it won't be a problem. But if something goes wrong in production, that might cause a problem. So before you touch that, you can
Correct.
practice commands and you can see the effect, and then you can implement those.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay,
and
fine.
then we discuss about networking. I will show you how to configure network for Linux. I will show you what IP address is, types of services of networking, and then storage. I will show you, NFS file share, how it works, so that everyone can correlate when I am teaching Azure, how things happen in cloud. So how things were in on-premise, and then how things are working in cloud. Yes, Karthik. Is it clear, Amit?
Hello. Yeah, sir. Actually, I want to know that as per the what I have seen the course content, I
Yeah.
think I have seen that there is a. Actually, I want to be asked how much percentage of the Azure course and in the DevOps built-in course in of Azure.
I
I'm
think it
asking.
will be approximately 60 to 65% of Azure and 30 to 35% of DevOps.
So, okay. So means DevOps not in the detail part here, correct?
Not very detailed. I will try to cover as many technologies. Like I will try to cover pipelines using YAML, pipelines for .NET, pipelines for Python, Node.js. So few use cases are there. I'll try to cover those.
So, as actually my experience is 8 years. I'm currently working in Tech Mahindra. Okay, so in the future, I want to be switch in the DevOps. So, what you suggest? How much relevant experience I can be show after your course
I think you can show up to
in Azure DevOps?
yeah, 1 to 2 years of experience. So this I'm considering that everyone here is new to DevOps and Azure both, and you should be able to show experience in DevOps and Azure both for relevant 1 to 2 years of experience.
So, will be consider if I have a experience of 8 years and relevant, I will show 1 or 1.5 years of experience in the new company to show
Yeah,
that will be
but
considered they will be interested to in me.
yeah, you need to practice a bit more so that you can, because nowadays everyone is migrating to Azure. So everyone is in starting phase. Nobody has like achieved the full-fledged implementation. So if there is requirement for just migration, I think you can go get into those projects where they're starting fresh.
Okay, so migration part will be also covered in this course.
Not yet. No, I'll cover on very high level, not into details. Migration, we only have VM migration to Azure, so I'll just tell how it happens overview.
Okay. Okay. So as compare the AWS DevOps, how much requirements is right now for the Azure DevOps as compare
I think
AWS, or open source is a better, means like Jenkins, GitHub, like this? What you suggest?
So I think everyone is going to Azure because of lot of features that Azure gives out of the box, like authentication, user management. Because if there is an organization, then they have to go with Microsoft to manage their user data. So they cannot escape from that. They need to take Office 365 license for all PPTs and all. So what they are doing is that they are taking DevOps also license with that, so that they can integrate their users with the Azure DevOps, their board for planning. Pipelines are there, and even services are there in Azure, like VMs, app services, AKS for deployment. So I think that's the reason Azure is catching up more, because of the fact that any organization, they by default need Microsoft to manage their users and other things. So that's why they're going for Microsoft for these products as well. When you go with open source Jenkins and all, yeah, it used to be popular. It has been popular. It is still popular, but I think Microsoft is really catching up.
Okay. And how much projects will be cover in this course?
I'll try to cover I think 3 to 4 types of pipelines.
Okay.
Okay. And
Okay.
after that you can practice. So we'll focus mostly on basics of see, I want to cover everything. I want to cover the basics of IT industry, starting from networking concepts, storage concepts, Linux concepts, and then I want to cover Microsoft ADs, Microsoft like Azure AD and Azure administration, generic, like creation of resources, what is resource group. Okay. And I want to cover Docker and Kubernetes, because without that I think writing pipelines will be difficult, because everyone is going for Docker and Kubernetes these days. And then we'll cover DevOps. So since I'm covering a lot of topics, I might not be able to get into depth of each topic and give you the expertise of each and every topic, but I can make sure that I give you basics knowledge, so that you can practice on top of it and excel.
Okay, but for each topic, can you be able? Can you be please give a assignment for the practice, so we can be as per the real environment and the real scenarios, what the real requirements for that particular topic related? Can you be please give to
Yeah,
the assignments daily basis?
I'm doing that. I have already given assignment to first install this virtual box and spin up a VM, and I have given few commands to practice those. And today I'll be explaining you about permissions and disk management, and then maybe you can practice that. So whatever I'm showing, you need to practice that, and on top of it, I will give you few scenarios which you can try out.
Okay,
So it is
okay.
going to
Thank you, sir.
be plus practice kind of thing. So once you practice in Oracle VirtualBox, or you can use VMware, whatever virtualization software you want to use, you can use wherever you want to. But you practice these things, because in production, in projects, we encounter this. So like formatting a disk, you might get a requirement to add a disk because of storage issues, and they might ask you to add a disk, and then you can add a disk using Azure. If I teach only Azure, you can add a disk using Azure, but how are you going to format it and mount it to a folder inside Linux? So that practice you have to do it in on your base, so that when you get the actual scenario, you can do it on Linux VM.
Okay. Okay,
Okay.
sir. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you. Okay,
Thank you, Amit.
that's all. Thank you.
So any other queries, guys?
Sir, Meher here, sir.
Yes, Meher.
Sir, on a daily basis, when we are practicing, what kind of a support do we get, sir? On WhatsApp group, would you be responding to our queries, or
Yeah,
Or
if there is
there
a group, maybe I can respond. Else you can, if like, yeah, I think if there is there a group created? I am not sure because I am not added. Maybe I'll ask them to add me to that group. So if you face any issues, you can ping in the group and I'll reply.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir. And while going to interviews, if there are some queries like some bouncer questions which we will not be able to get it, can we talk to you and
Yeah, sure,
get those?
definitely. You can even talk to me after you get into a job, if you get into some scenario and how to, if you're not. But I'm sure after this course, you will have direction of, you will be able to understand questions are coming from which areas, what are they expecting. You'll be able to understand if you're not having, that in-depth knowledge. You can go and if you study, you'll be able to understand. I'm confident about that. So if once you
Okay.
finish this, you'll be able to understand which area or what are they expecting, and then easily you'll be able to get in that direction and understand. If you're facing an issue, I'm always there to help.
So
Sir,
my coaching or whatever classes do any soft copies of any documentation where we can go through reference material. Can we get the soft copies kind of thing, sir?
Yeah, I'm preparing PPT for each and every class. So I'll share the PDF format of it. You can go through it once the class is over, or you can go through the recording again. So if you're facing any issue, I think you can go through recording. It's 1 hour. You go through
That
it
is,
and you will be able to get it. So both
yeah,
will be there.
that is fine, sir. Can we get links of any master resource material or where we can original material apart from your PPT? We agree your PPT will be very valuable, but apart from that, if we want to go in depth, it's because since all the topics will not be covered in depth. If some areas we want to go in depth on our own enthusiasm, can we get some links or sources where we can find them?
I will check and I will give it to you. I have some materials, so I need to just format it. So depending on topic, I'll try to share those.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
sir, what support for the means at the time of we will give the interviews. So mock interviews preparation and resume preparation regarding.
I think I'm not sure about it. Maybe I think we need to check with the institute if they have someone else to do it. But if not, I will try to take mock interviews. I can give you interview questions and I can help you with your CVs.
Okay. Okay. So mock interviews. Have you any means document relevant to for the interviews questions and answers?
Yeah, I have some questionnaires with me. At the end of the course, maybe I'll try to share from each topic the questions that can be asked.
Okay. Okay. Fine, sir. Thank you.
So any other queries? Anyone, guys? Any queries? Okay, so you go through the 2 sessions that I have taken on Thursday and Friday, and you try to just you have to bring up the VM and you need to practice some commands that I have given. So today we are going to see the permissions part of it, how permissions are handled in Linux. So whenever there is a file, for example, if I create a file, suppose I'm creating a file touch abc.txt. Okay, now if I do ls, it will list the files present in that directory. So if I want to get details about more details about each file present in the directory, I'll have to do ls-l. So when I do ls-l, you can see a lot of details here, like the creation date. Okay, but on the very left hand side, you see here, you can see some rwx written, right? So these are the permissions. So you should understand how to read these permissions. For example, when I say, when someone asks you what is the permission of this abc.txt, so you must be able to decrypt it and you should be able to tell it. Okay, now let us see how permissions are actually written. So for any file, the permissions are there in this format. Okay, we will have rwx, we have total 10 fields. Okay, each field will have one letter or symbol associated with it. The first field will have either a hyphen or a d. Okay, hyphen indicates that it's a file and d indicates that it's a directory. So if you see a d on the very first place, then you can understand that it's a directory. After that, we will have 9 places to fill. Now each of these 9 place, each of this place can be filled with 3 letters, either r, w or x. R is for read, w is for write, and x is for execute. Okay, now why do we have 3 placeholders? We have read, write, execute, read, write, execute, and read, write, execute. 3 times it is there because the first read, write, execute, it is the permissions that the owner of the file have. Okay, and the second read, write, execute, it is the permission that the group of file have, that the group which is there, the permissions of the group owner of the file have. And third read, write, execute is the others, what others can do with the file, like anyone who is not part of the is not the owner of the file and not even part of the group of the file, what they can do. Okay, so if you see here, one second. Now if you see here, after this is written, after this 10 places are there, you can see that there are 2 columns, root. Okay, now this first one is the owner of the file and the second one is the group owner of the file. So when we created a user that day, we have seen that with every user a group is also created. Okay, so this is the group owner. So the permission for this group, we can add users to this root group, and then whoever is there in this root group will be able to have permission of this, the third one. The first one is for file or directory, then 2, 3, 4 are for owner. So who is owner? Root is the owner. Now this root can read the abc.txt, it can write abc.txt, it cannot execute it because there is no execute permission, it is hyphen. Okay, now coming to group, whoever is added to the root group will have only read permission. So they will be able to only read it, they won't be able to edit this file, they won't be able to write this file, they won't be able to execute. And others, whoever is not part of the root group or is not root, suppose I log in with some other user, demo user or test user, they will be able to read this file. Okay, now this permissions in Linux is based on hierarchy. So if the parent directory is not having those permissions, then the file inside the directory will also they won't be able to do it. For example, if I have to read this from other, then they also should have permissions to the folder. If I do pwd, they should have permission to this root folder. Okay, so how do I check permissions of root folder? So I can get into / and check what is the permission for this root folder. Root folder, we have read and execute for root, read and execute for group, and nothing, nobody can enter into this. So even if a user, another user, the third, like others, have a read permission on abc.txt, they cannot read this file because no one apart from root can get into the / root folder. You getting it? So if let me log into, how do I check what are the users available? I'll just do /home and then I can see the home folders of the user created. I can log into one of the user. Okay, now I can create one file cd. I just tilt so it will go to home directory of the user, and let me create a file. Now I have created a file. By default, it got read write permission for abc.txt, read write for read write for demo user 1 and demo user 1 group. Okay, and for others it got read permission. Okay, now each bit, how do I change permissions? So if I add each bit, each of it, a numeric value is associated with it. So the first one is file type, the second one like this is user, group and others, read, write, execute. For each of the read, write or execute, a numeric value is associated. So when I say that a file has read permission, read means we'll have 4 numeric 4 is the value. Okay, and write is 2 and execute is 1. So how do we discuss permission? If I say a file has 755 permission, I cannot be talking like what is the permission of the file. Then I cannot say that that file has rwx, or it is difficult to read, right? The permission has r-x, r-x or rw-rw-. So it is difficult to understand, even to tell what permissions they have. So we come up like we generally represent it with numbers. Okay, when I say a file has 755 permission, I mean 7 means it has read, write, execute. 5 means for group it has read and execute. Okay, and again 5 means it has read and execute. So that's how we read it. So generally in interviews they ask if in a Linux, if there is a file and the permissions for the file is 754, then what does the file have? So who can access that file? Then you need to process it. You need to tell that 7 means the first 7, whatever it is there when we are reading, the first numeric 7 is for owner. Now owner, since it is 7, only combination possible to get 7 is if we add read, write and execute. Okay, so you need to say that the owner have read, write and execute permission, and the group has, the group where is the group owner of the file, they have only combination possible to get 5 is read and execute. So the group has read and execute permission, and others have also read and execute. If they ask that a file has 764 permission, what does the file have? Like who can access that file? You need to understand these permissions for many other reasons, because you might be even asked to install something. Okay, run some application in Linux or update something. So you might get errors that this is not having permission. So you should be able to depict the permissions, and you should be able to give right permissions to make it happen. Okay, so what are the possible permissions that we can have? Either we can have 7, 5, 4, then multiple, we can have like 4, 4, 4. Also we can have only read permission for all. Okay, now when you have to change permission of a file, you need to use those numbers to change. Okay, now again this slide we have given just the first one is file type, second one is user permission, third is group level permission, and then the last one is other permissions. And the 2323 is number of hard links and soft links. I have not explained about hard links and soft links. You can go and check about it. It's like it's a shortcuts in Windows. It is similar to that, the soft links. And then what is important here is the owner. Who is the owner? Who is the group owner or the group name which can access it, and the permissions. And size, if you want to see, I will give you other commands to check the size of the file. And then date and time of last modified, and the file name last. Okay, so here we can see that abc.txt has these permissions. Let me create a file touch called user create dot. Suppose you have created a Python file, let us suppose. Okay, now if you do same ll, you can see that it has read write for owner, that is demo user can read and write, group can read and write, and others can only read it, and it is a normal file. Okay, but what we have to do, we have to execute it, right? When we create a file, okay, Python is not the, let me create bash file. Okay, so for this bash file you have to execute it. You just use dot slash and execute it if you have to. Then you get an error called permission denied, because this file does not have any execute permissions. If you see here, there is no execute present in anywhere. Okay, getting it right? So what permission should I give for this to execute? Anyone? So I should give execute for, I am running it as demo user, right? So I must make sure that at least the owner is able to execute it. So what is the current permission of this file? Anyone? Guys?
Read and write.
Yeah, so how do you read it in numeric? Is it 754 or what it is?
4 plus 2, 6.
So it is 6, 6 and 4.
Plus, correct. 6 and 4, correct. 1.
Yeah. So it is 6, 6 and 4. What I have to make it? I have to make it, first one I have to make it anyhow 7. So I can keep it 7, 6 and 4. So what I will do is, there is a command for changing permissions. We have to use chmod and we have to give the expected permission. What I wanted, I want to make it 7, 6 and 4 and the file name. Okay. Now you see what is the permission here, and you can see that it is, the color of this is also changed to green. Getting it? Now let me remove this Python. Yeah. Now what I have to do, all I have to do is, suppose for example I can get into it. Now I can execute it. You getting? Guys, now
See,
what I want to, yes.
One question. Now we log in as a demo user, right? Like where this file is created under which directory?
It is created in home directory of demo user.
Okay. Under same user. Okay. Like okay, Windows, like Windows only. Wherever the login user ID of under home. Okay.
Yeah. So in home you will have home directory for all the users. Clear? Now, okay. Now what we can do is, I want demo user 2 to execute this, for example, but it is present in demo user 1 directory. So what I can do, either the best practice is copy this file to demo user 2 also and execute it from there, or if you want to have it, then what we can do is we can add demo user 2 to demo user 1's group. So this is a group, right? So what we can do is, but before that, we need to check permissions of this folder, because we should also have permission for the folder level to execute. So what I will do is I'll just go back in home folder and I'll check the permissions for this folder. So for this folder does not have any group or any others permission. They cannot do anything. Only demo user 1 can perform actions in demo user 1, and demo user 2 can perform activities in demo user 2. So either we can change it to, what I can make is I can make others to execute. I can give others to execute, for example chmod. Generally we don't do it in production, but for explaining you, I'm telling you chmod I can keep 701. One second. 701 to demo user 1. Okay, and then cd demo user 1. I can give others execute permission. So chmod 765. Getting it? 7 is for read and execute. This is already 6. I'll give read and execute, that is 5, to create user.sh. Okay, now if I go back and let me check the permission for home folder, because it will come through the top directory. So home folder have execute for others. So if I log in with demo user 2, I forgot password, so let me log into root. Now I go to home folder, then I should be able to execute /home/ one second, where is the file? Cannot do ls, but I should be able to execute once. I'll do one thing, I'll just copy this to home demo user 2, and then sudo okay, then change permissions ll/home demo user 2, and I have this, but since I copied using root, I'll have owner as root. I'll just change it to ch. We use a command chown to change the ownership. I'll change ownership to demo user 2 : user 2. Okay, now I will log in with sudo su demo user 2. Then I go to cd home folder ls pwd demo user 2 ./create. Yeah, so you're getting it. So what I have done, instead of changing the permission of that home folder and everything, I have simply copied using root folder to this demo user 2 user, and then I change the ownership of the file to demo user 2 and the group ownership to demo user 2. Now this will be able to execute by demo user 2. So we need to take care of permissions like this. So all you have to understand is how to read permission, how to calculate
One question, see, in real time, for example, I have Linux box where I have multiple applications. Each application is one user, but I can't create a Java for each application, right? I install a Java at root level, but I need
So
to set.
okay, for those kind of scenarios, what we do is, suppose I'll make sure that this user, I'll create a folder mkdir / Java, for example. Okay, I'll just exit. I'll do it with root / Java. Okay, and then I'll just copy / home. Let me take it from anywhere. Demo user 2 / create user.ss2 / Java. Okay, now what I'll do, ch own 7552 / Java. Okay, sorry, chmod 552 / Java. I'm giving permission to / Java ls /. So I am giving execute permission to others. Okay, and ch own, I'll just make sure that it is root and I'll create a group. I'll create a group called, let us say, dev. Okay, dev2 / Java. Okay, dev is not there. User add. If I add a user, automatically group will be added, or if I can group add dev, then I can give Java. Now ll / if I do, you can see for Java you will have owners and this as group owner. Let me give full permission to the group. Okay, now ch mod 770. Let's make sure that no others will be able to execute. Others I'm not giving any permission. So inside Java, if I do / Java, I have this. Let me give mod 770 to. Okay, now what we'll do is we will open /etc / one second. Okay, this is a file called /etc / group. In this file we can add users to the group. So we need to add demo user 1 and demo user to this dev group. Okay, so either we can edit this file to add this, or what we can do is we can you can use command line to add the group. So let us use both. We can edit this file, and or we can add. I'll show you both. 1 second. So now I should log in with sudo su demo user 1, and I should be able to /. 1 second, I think it's not added. Okay, it is showing permission. We changed it, right? Okay, chmod chown. Okay, we changed it for Java, but not for this. Dev create user.sh sudo su demo user1, and then we should be able to run the file. You're getting it? What we generally do, we added demo user1 to dev group. Similarly, we add other users to the group, and then we'll be able to execute it commonly.
Yeah, I got it. But why we are not able to run the, see, previously we created a file in demo user one, right? Try to run from other user, but we copied, right? So see, let's scenario is I have a file under one user. So we want to execute as in another user. So without copy. So that is possible only adding a permission to group, or first I need to add part of the demo user group, and after that I need to have proper permission. What is the steps?
So I think others is executed. It should be able to execute. Let me just check.
Yeah. The scenario is where we have a file, the same X file, without copying. There is a one user has a file, but scenario is different users should be able to launch the file without copying. That is a scenario, correct? So what steps we need to follow in that scenario?
They should be able to execute. 1 second. Read home, and in home we have execute for demo user1, and inside demo user1 / home demo user1. We have execute, so this should be, let me just get into it and try. I think we are in not proper directory, so
This demo user might not be part of that group, might be correct for that file. Create user under demo user one.
but I have given others permission to execute, so they should be able to execute.
Till you are part of that group, then only you can execute, right? See, you given others to execute, but I should be part of that group, then only I can access, correct?
Yeah, let me add it to demo group.
Yeah, demo user one group, add demo user two, demo user group one, then try, I think it might work.
So one more thing I can do is 757.2/home chmod 757.2 demo user1 and chmod 757.2 demo user1. Yeah, now I'll do switch user demo user2 cd home /home. So I am able to execute with 757 permission. So others should have, I think, read and execute as well for it to execute. I think only execute was not working. We need not be part of group for that. So even if demo user is part of demo user one, it will work unless and until permissions are there in all level. So in home level, I have given 757. So the third bit is 7. In demo user 1 level also I have given 757. So I'm making sure that the group is not having execute group is not having that write permission, and I've given it file level. So even if it is not like this, if others are having execute permission in all level, then it will be able to execute. Let me try removing write permission and only read and execute. You're getting it right, what we are trying to do here?
Yeah, got it, got it. But without read, you can't execute, right? That is okay, got it.
Yeah, I think that's okay. Sorry, I need to give 7 5 without read execute is not taking. So home demo user 1. Okay, yeah, demo user 1, and then create .75sh sudo su demo user cd dot sh slash home slash demo user 1, and yeah, create .sh. Yeah, you're getting it right. So we need to have read permission as well with execute. I think, yeah, that is for reading the path, because it will not be able to figure out, right, in which path it is. So for reading the path, it needs a read permission as well. So with this permission, I'm having read and execute for the owner, that is demo user 2. For group, I am having only read permission, and there is no one else in the group. And for others, I have given read and execute so that other users can read the path where the file is. That's why I think it was showing, it was not showing, it was showing, I think, file not found, because it was not able to read, and then it will be able to execute because it is having others. So we should be extremely careful with the other others permission. So there could be many general practices like I showed. One is we can create in slash, we can create folder. Generally we create Java or whatever application is, okay, and what we try to do is we try to have group to it, and then we add users to the group so that whoever is a user, they will be able to execute it. Getting, guys?
Yeah, got it.
Yeah. So you practice permissions, you take it, you just figure out what it takes to give permission. So this is how you read permissions and you give. So we have two commands: chmod, chown. Chmod for changing this, chown for changing the ownership. So this is extremely important because you might encounter permission related errors sometime, like whether configuring agent for DevOps or in AKS. So somewhere you will be getting the permission. So these must be taken care. So if you just simply understand what is the numbers, what they mean, 754 764, you should be able to calculate it, and you give permission so that they can access the files. Clear? Yeah. So let us cover one more topic today, that is how do we attach a disk and we mount it. So suppose you're attaching a new disk. Okay, so suppose when you're clear with permission, right? Can I jump into next one?
Yes, yes, you can go ahead.
So let us see how disk management works in Linux. So you might need to increase the storage, you might need to extend. Suppose you have an application in Linux and you run out of the disk space and you have to attach a new disk. And how do you attach a new disk to Linux and format it? So that is very important. Let's see. So any disk, whether you attach it to Linux or Windows, they have 4 partitions. They can have 4 primary partitions, and the third one, fourth primary partition, can be extended and separated into logical partitions. So what these partitions are? So these partitions are logically separating your disk so that you can format each partition separately. For example, when you have Windows laptop and you have a C drive and D drive, so you can keep all your data in D drive and you can format your C drive to newer Windows version. So you might have done this in past. So that is because we have partitions in our hard disk, and we can utilize that partitions to format each disk or each partition separately with our file system. You can format one partition with ext4, You can partition another partition with EST3 or XFS. So there are different types of file systems available. Generally, these days we use XFS and EST4. These are the two partitions that you will come across. So what we have to do is we have to attach a disk and we have to partition it, and we have to format it with a file system, and then we have to mount it to a folder. Okay, now we have this Java folder, right? And where is the storage for this Java folder? It is there in the root, whatever root slash is there. If you do df-ht, so whatever df-ht gives us the status of the disk present in our system. So guys, today I'll take a 15 minutes more. Is it okay, right? You don't have any problem. I'll take till 9:15. I'll just explain this so that you can practice permissions and disk management at once today. Okay. Yeah. So this Java is present in where? /Java. So we can see /Java is 6.2 GB of size. Okay. So whatever you put in Java /Java, it will go to /partition and it will consume space here. Okay. So what I want is I want to keep all my application files in a separate hard disk. I don't want it to be mixed with the root file system, because tomorrow morning if I want to format it, my data should be intact. Or if I want to take the disk and attach it to another VM, I should be able to do it. I want to do something in this VM in a separate disk in Java. I want it to be taken out the disk like a hard disk and mount it to one more VM. I want that to happen. So what I will do is I will attach a disk. I will format disk with ext4, let us suppose, and I will mount it to this Java folder. Okay. And tomorrow we will see LVM, concepts of LVM, what is logical volume manager and how do we manage it. I will tell you the what are the drawbacks in formatting and attaching and why we came up with LVM. Now for attaching any disk, all you have to do is you have to go to Oracle VirtualBox, or if you're using any other VMware or anything, you can go to there. You can go to storage, okay, and you have to click here. When the VM is stopped, then you have to attach it. You cannot do it for a running VM. I'll just show it to you here. In the storage, all you have to do is, already I have attached 3 disks. I'll just remove this attachment. So you have to go here, IDE, you will get option here to attach. You need to create, like not add, you have to click on create. If you are creating a new hard disk, you need to select the hard disk type. You can give dynamically allocate, because you might not be keeping files. You need to give the path and the size and then click on create. Once you create, you can attach it. You can just choose and attach it here. So once you have attached it, you need to start your VM. So after starting your VM, you need to see what are the disks attached to your VM. So here we have to type lsblk, list blocks. Okay, it will list all the disk attached. So if you can see, we can see the structure of the system here. We have SDA. I'll just move it aside. We have SDA. Okay, SDA is the partition that we created while creating the VM. Okay, now SDA is 8 GB, and we have SDB, which is also 8 GB that I have attached, and we have SR0, that is CD-ROM. I have attached some ISM for making it. So we can see here SDA is of type LVM. Tomorrow I'll explain what LVM is and how to partition it. As of today, let's focus on how to partition it with EST4. Okay, now SDB is a 8 GB disk, and if you do df-ht, you can see that here we have SDA1, okay, and we have other temp file system. We don't see SDB anywhere. This means SDB is not formatted and not attached to anything. So we have to format it. We have to create partitions on it. It is a fresh disk that is there. So how do we create partition? There is a command called fdisk/dev. Since it is attached to dev folder, all the new disks are attached there. You need to go do fdisk/dev/sdb. Okay, we have to format this. Then we will get into fdisk command line, where we have to give few commands to perform it. So we can type M for help. It will list out what all we can do. For example, we can print the table. Okay, print the partition table. We can add a new partition. So this is what we have to do here. Delete a partition, list free space and all. So what we have to do? We have to type N, because I want to create a new partition. It will ask me whether I want to create a primary partition or extended partition. So for every hard disk, we'll have four primary partitions, and the fourth one can be as extended partitions if we run out of partitions. So here I will create one primary partition. So I'll give P. Even if I don't give anything, if I click enter, it will take P, because default is P here selected already. Then I need to give the partition 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, if I don't give anything, it will take 1, because default is 1. 1 is not, it is not created. You can see 0 primary partitions and 0 extended are created. Okay, now I need to select the first sector. So each hard disk is in form of sectors. Okay, so it starts from 2048 to the size of the hard disk. So it is 8 GB. So 8 GB, I think if you convert it into bytes, it will come almost this number. So even if I don't give anything, it will take it from like first sector. Because see, if I have to create, suppose 8 GB is there, I want to create primary partition, first primary partition of 2 GB. Then I can give here 2G, like 2G. If I give 2G, it will create partition till 2 GB. Okay, and if I don't give anything, it will format, like it will take entirely the 8 GB as one partition. Okay, like in your laptop, if you have only C drive, that is the case. What will happen? Okay, if I don't give anything. So I don't, since it is a data disk, I don't want any partitions in it. I want entire 8 GB to be attached to Java. Okay, now it has created a partition. I can print the partition table. If I give P here, it prints the partition table. So what does it tell? It has created a partition called SDB1 of 8 GB size. Okay, now if I'm satisfied with the partition, I can click W. If I'm not satisfied, I can click D to delete it and reformat it. Suppose you did some mistake and you want to do it again. Suppose you don't want 8 GB, you want 6 GB. So you can delete the partition, you can create it again. But I'll give W. I want to write it to the disk. Now this partition has been written to the disk. Okay, now if you do ls blk, you can see that your SDB is the disk and it has one partition, SDB1 of 8 GB created. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to format it. Before using it, I want to format with a file system. I can format it with ext4 or xfs or any other file system, but I'll format it with ext4. So the command again for formatting is mkfs.ext4 /dev SDB1. I'll select the partition. I will not select SDB because SDB is the disk. I want to format the partition. The partitions are always formatted. Okay, and then it will format the SDB with ext4 type of file system. Now what I will do, now this SDB1 partition is ready to use. I will do is I will mount it. I will mount this partition to Java folder. So the command is mount /dev SDB1 to /Java. Okay, now what if I do df-st, you can see here /Java is of 7.9 GB and it is in SDB1 partition. Now whatever I create files in Java, okay, those files won't be there because that is left in that other part, like root file system, that whatever we created, create.sh, because we mounted a fresh disk to this Java. So we can create something and this data will be there in this partition. For example, if I do umount, if I unmount it, slash sdb1. Then if I go to slash java, which file will be there? We will have the old file create user.sh, because this was not there when we mounted the new partition to Java. Okay, so what I can do is I can move this to some other place, like I can move it to slash. Let me keep it in slash. I'll just come out of it. I will mount again slash dev sdb1 to slash java, and I will again move slash create user.sh to slash java, so that in Java I will have both my abc.txt and create user.sh. You got right what happened? I created a hard disk. Let us suppose if you relate it to Windows, I created a disk. I have attached one pen drive, for example. In that pen drive, I created one abc.txt. I mounted that pen drive to Z drive. Let us suppose. So Z colon, I mounted that to Z drive and created abc.txt. But already in Z drive, there was a create user.sh in Windows. So what I did is I removed my pen drive from Z drive. I copied it to outside, and again I attached my pen drive and mounted that, moved it to there. So in Linux, if you like, generally it's a general practice when we are doing practicing for applications or anything, we want to keep our application data, or if we install MySQL, we want the MySQL data to be on separate disk. So we add that, and then we keep all our data there. Clear? So, but with this, what is the drawback with this type of approach? Now, suppose Java I have given 8 GB, right? Tomorrow morning, if I want more, let us suppose my application is becoming huge and I want 8 more GB of it, then it will be difficult for me to increase the size, because the hard disk size is fixed, the partition size is already formatted, and I won't be able to add it, I won't be able to scale it up. So to overcome those kind of problems, we have a concept called LVM. So that tomorrow I will explain you how exactly we will create LVMs, so that we can LVM is logical volume manager, and we should be able to logically manage the volume. We can increase, scale up the partition, we can scale down the partition, we can attach new hard disks to increase the size of it. So all these things we'll get into that. So to understand that, I want you to attach this and format it and practice this today, so that tomorrow when I'm explaining LVM, it will be easier to correlate. Okay, like this is how you attach the disk, this is how you created this is how you format, and this is how you mount. You're getting it now? Oh, last thing here is, now you have mounted it using this command, mount space slash dev slash sdb and Java. So what you are doing here using mount command, I'm saying mount this partition slash dev slash sdb, this disk and partition to Java folder. But if my system reboots, if I reboot now, this mount will not happen again. Like in Java, this HDB won't be there. Java will be again mounted back to your slash, because this is not a permanent mount. This is a temporary mount. When we mount something using permanent mount command, it is temporarily mounted. But if you want to persist it, if you want while booting at the boot time, again you want the disk to be mounted to Java folder, then you have to write that in this file. Okay, in this file we write what are the partitions that are available. Let me just copy this line and paste it so that we can alter it. Now what I want here, we are giving the UUID of the partition. Each partition will have a UUID. I will show you where to get that, and then which path I want that UUID to be mounted. Okay, I want that to be mounted to Java, and the type of file system we have is ext4, and these are you can avoid it for now, defaults, and that you can keep however it is. We need to take the UUID. For that, the command is blkid. With this, you will be able to get the UUID for each partition. So our partition is SDB1. So the UUID for SDB1 is this one. Okay. Now you need to take this and you have to put it here. Okay, and then you have to give mount space -a so that it reruns the fstab file. So next time, even if you reboot, after your system comes up, you will have this SDB1 mounted to Java. Getting it, guys? Any doubt? So I want you to create VM, attach a disk, and then attach it to a folder, format it, and mount it to a folder. This much you keep it. Tomorrow I'll explain you LVM. Clear?
Yes, yes, fine.
Yeah. Any doubts?
Like how did you? I mean, disk we attach it, right? So that we are not. It's a indeed. I mean, it's like pen drive. I mean, you have already disk which you're extending. That we need more clarification. I mean, attaching first before partition, right? We have to attach how we are getting the SPP memory like before we attach.
Okay. So once we attach a new disk, automatically it will be mounted to some folder. Okay. So like in Linux, it will create a name and it will mount it to some. It will give you one name, SDB. Now, if I attach a new disk, it will show as SDC. So whatever was the previous name, it will take the next name and show it to us. If you attach a new fresh disk, if I go here and attach it, it is running. I need to stop and start it. It might take some time. So all you have to do is go to settings. When you attach the storage, whatever next available free disk partition name is there, it will take. So it will take SDC if you attach again. So in Windows, when you attach a pen drive, automatically it gives you a disk, right? So if you have CDF and you attach a pen drive, you get G drive or H drive. So that is how it is in Linux. In Linux, you get this SDB, SDC, SDD. Okay, and then you have to partition it. So you saw that earlier there was no SDB1 inside it. It was only SDB. So you have to partition it. You need to create partitions. You can create up to 4 partitions: SDB1, B2, B3, and B4. And you can extend the B4 to have multiple partitions in it. To n number of partitions you can have. So you can logically divide. For example, you have Java. You want to keep application data in one partition. You can create DB as one more partition, SDB2 for DB related data. Both your data will be in separate partition in the same disk. You can create that as well. So that's why we have partitions. So like you can keep all your exe files in C drive, and you are keeping all your data in D drive. You getting? So SDB1 is your C drive, SDB2 will be your D drive. Similar. I'm like, it is similar for explaining you. I'm taking just an example of Windows. Yeah.
By when would this recorded video be available?
I think need to check once with the team. I think by afternoon.
Okay, by afternoon. All right.
Yeah. So just go through my recorded videos of Thursday and Friday, create a VM, and today you go and attach the disk and practice few commands related to user creation, group creation, adding user to group, and permissions for the files, and go through how to change permission and change the group and owners of the file.
Okay, I have
Tomorrow
one more question. I did not attend the earlier 2 classes, and I joined a bit late today as well. The Linux part that we are learning, how would that be used in Microsoft Azure DevOps? Where is
Yeah.
it used exactly?
Yes. So Mukul, why we are learning this is because we are going to understand Docker and Kubernetes also in our VMs. Okay, we'll install Docker, we'll install Kubernetes, and we'll learn how Docker is working, how to containerize the application, and how Kubernetes is working, so that when I'm explaining AKS, you will not have installation part there. So if you install it on your own in local, you will be easily able to correlate how AKS is working. Okay, that is first part. Second part, if you create VM, attach disk and do everything here, when I'm explaining VM creation in Azure, you will be able to easily correlate what are the things need to be taken care while creating a VM. The third part is in Azure DevOps, we need to create some agents where our build will happen. So generally we go for Windows agent or Linux agent. So in case of Linux agent, if there is some issue in the build, if something failing due to some maybe disk space is full in the VM of the build VM, disk space is full. So what do you have to do? You have to get into the VM. You need to make sure you attach a disk, format it, and increase the space of the Java folder, for example. So in this case scenario also, you should be able to use, if it is an LVM, tomorrow it is, you need to extend it, or if it is in root, you can attach a disk immediately, format it, and then copy the contents from /java to new Java disk, so that your disk space is resolved and your builds can resume.
Okay. And also, so we would be spinning up these instances via CLI. That is why also we are learning this.
Yeah, we will do it in Azure, no? Yeah, Azure side. So while doing it, you should be able to understand what is, why are you attaching disk? What is HDD? What is SSD? That will talk in storage. And yeah, so what is compute? And once it comes up, you might have to, log in and do some configurations. So see, as long as industry is there, your Linux knowledge should be there. Today or tomorrow, you have to learn it. Okay, so if you
Yes.
learn now, it is good, and it is very helpful for Docker and Kubernetes, because Docker and Kubernetes is entirely based on Linux. Without
Okay.
these knowledge, we cannot proceed further.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Few important things I'm teaching. I'm not teaching all. I'm not covering all topics in Linux and everything. So from each and every phase, I'm picking up few very important topics which are required. Like formatting a disk, you will need it. You have to format a disk in your lifetime and mount it. You have to increase LVM some time of your life. So these are very important. So it's better you practice before you implement.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else, guys? Okay, guys. I think that's it for today. You practice and keep it. Tomorrow we'll read, study more about LVM. After that, we'll get into networking concepts. What is network? What is IP address? How to configure IP address for Linux. What is DSCP? What is DNS? What is NATing? What is subnetting? How to calculate subnets? What is classes of IPs? All this we'll cover this week, because this will be useful while you are defining VNets in Azure. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.